What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing the Denver Nuggets now that their season has been ended by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second round of this year's NBA playoffs. They did eventually lose in Game 7, but the Denver Nuggets, by no stretch of the imagination do I say, or I'm going to jump the gun on what I think they should do today, right? I think for the Denver Nuggets, it's more of a marathon, not a sprint, right? 3-time MVP in Nikola Jokic. You have Jamal Murray, who, could have had a better series. But I really don't want to harp on too much of what he didn't do right now. This particular moment of this video is about the others. And by the others, I mean Michael Porter Jr., who had an absolute atrocious outing as far as shooting in that series. The same thing could be said about Caldwell Pope. These guys did not show up to the best of their ability in that series versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And hats off to the defensive prowess of the Timberwolves. But there were a lot of open shots for these guys, And as we speak to like bench production as well, when it comes to the Denver Nuggets and what wasn't able to take shape for them. Now, as I look over what their roster will look like in 24-25. Of course, we all know Nikola Jokic is under contract until 27-28, where he'll be making about $62 million per year. And you look at a guy in Jamal Murray who will be under contract. Next season, he'll be making about $36 million. Then after that, he will be a free agent unless a deal is made. By that time, you look at Michael Porter Jr., who next year will be making $35 million. Aaron Gordon at $23 million. KCP at $15 million. You look at Reggie Jackson at $5 million. You look at a lot of their pieces as to what will their roster look like outside of their core, and that is definitely interesting because you let Bruce Brown walk, who was a pivotal player and piece to your championship team. You don't bring Bruce Brown back. So you trade Bones Highland because of reasons, one or another, who knows, right? You look at the talent pool that the Western Conference is, whether you're looking at teams like Minnesota, you're looking at Dallas, you're looking at the Lakers, you're looking at the Clippers, you're looking at the Suns, you're looking at the Kings. So you look at the talent pool that is the Western Conference, and if you are the Denver Nuggets, it doesn't get any easier. And I feel like being a champion, the target was on their backs anyway from the onset of the season, right? A lot of teams were gunning for that spot. And I say this all the time when it comes to repeating as champions. No matter what the sport is, it's very, very difficult to repeat as champions. Make no mistake, I get it. They have Nikola Jokic, but to repeat as champions, especially in today's NBA, where the talent pool is so vast, where any team, can get the right amount of players together and go on a run, an extended run especially, and ultimately compete for titles. That's what the Denver Nuggets are put together to do, to be able to compete for titles, but they're not the only team trying to accomplish the same goal. And it's, like I said, especially in the Western Conference, where I feel like it doesn't get any easier year after year. Do I think that the Nuggets run is over? No, by no stretch of the imagination do I think that the Nuggets are finished when it comes to their title runs. I believe they'll still be competitive. There's no stretch of the imagination Joker won't put on a performance like he did this year, next year. You know, we know what Jamal Murray is capable of, even though he hasn't been an all-star. We know what Aaron Gordon has been capable of. Same thing could be said about MPJ. It's just the others, you know, the KCPs, and what you choose to do with their bench. And I think that's the most pivotal part about the Denver Nuggets. What do they do as we creep closer to the draft, free agency? Do they try to pull a trigger on a trade and things like that with players that may become available to their, you know, to their exposure, so to speak? You know, what players can they grasp to add on to what they already have? I think that when you are building to compete for titles, you know, like the Denver Nuggets want to do, because at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people see it and they may say it or may not, but we know what type of player and personality we're getting when it comes to Nikola Jokic. Yes, he does play basketball at a very, very high level, right? We know that much. But I don't think he's one of those guys that wants to stick around for 12, 15, 18, 20 years. I don't think that. You have to start thinking about long term. Even though Jamal Murray played good in Game 7, what about, his injuries and things like that? What type of player is Michael Porter Jr. going to mold himself into as his career keeps going forward? We know what we're going to get out of Aaron Gordon, because he's been showing that ever since his days in Orlando, and he has improved since joining the Nuggets. So I don't think we're going to hear any names like Paul George when it comes to the Nuggets, or guys like Spider Mitchell. But don't sleep on them trying to court a player or two in free agency, or maybe via the trade market. Tobias Harris. I know a lot of people don't think very highly of Tobias because of his time in Philadelphia, but his name is going to be swirling around some very, very competitive teams. And that's what the Nuggets want to continue to be. Very competitive. And that's all you can ask for. Especially with a team that, came off of a season of success, but ultimately fell short of, I believe, their goal. Michael Malone said, the season ended and it didn't end the way they wanted to. It didn't end the way they wanted to, and I'm paraphrasing, but it just didn't end the way they wanted it to. And that's for any team that's not at this stage of the season. But like I said, man, what I think the Nuggets should do going forward, I don't think it needs to be a full-on rebuild or retool. I just think they need to tweak a few bench spots and see what they could, and see what their team would ultimately look like going forward as we move on into the 24-25 season. But, like I said, for the Denver Nuggets, unfortunately, their season didn't go in the way that I believe their fans and their organization would have hoped. But there's always next year. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Denver Nuggets fans, NBA fans, basketball fans, or if this is just your first time tuning into the channel, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.